and welcome to Our Time. Thank you for joining us.
And Janice, great to have your company as always.
And you too, Malcolm.
Thank you. And great to have your company as always, because on today's episode we're going to be talking about the result of things that can happen after a bushfire.
Yes.
And we're also having the band along called the Come Together Band with a song, but we're also going to find out about their show with Emma Knights, who is a rising musical director here in South Australia and plays for an awful lot of stuff in the pit.
Wow, okay.
Do people still say that in the pit?
I don't know that they do. But Kerry Wilkinson is back with us. Thank you for you're becoming a regular on our program, aren't you?
Professor.
Associate Professor.
What should we call you? Prof? Prof?
Kerry works for me. Let's stick with that.
I like that. So, Kerry, bushfires occur in Australia a lot,
They do.
Unfortunately. And I guess it's a combination of the smoke and obviously the burning that can affect grapes, and that's one of the areas that you're researching at the moment.
They can. Since about 2003, there have been bushfires occurring in close proximity to a wine region somewhere in Australia, throughout that time. And unfortunately, in some cases, the smoke from that bushfire can linger in a wine region, and it can actually taint the grapes and therefore carry through to the wine.
Even if it hasn't been that close to the vineyard, the smoke that's travelled across would still affect the grapes.
That's right, because unfortunately the smoke can blow through a wine region, so even though the fire may be some distance from it, the smoke can travel quite some distance.
Is the analogy appropriate that we would have a problem if we're breathing in smoke, and therefore the leaves of the plant would be breathing in the smoky air?
Yeah, it's quite a good analogy, really.
I know, I'm so clever. I should come work for you.
You should.
I thought of that just then.
So yeah, the smoke can actually affect the grapevine, so it shuts down photosynthesis, but the smoke can actually be absorbed by the leaves and the fruit as well. And so when we make wine from grapes that's been badly affected by smoke, it takes on sort of an ashy, smoky, cold campfire type characters.
So you can still use those grapes? Would you still use them?
In some cases, it's not a problem. It really depends on how long the grapes in the grapevine have been exposed to smoke and also the timing. So what stage during the growth cycle that the bushfires occurred and the smoke exposure has occurred.
Okay.
But I suppose all the residue of the smoke, because they're little tiny particles of the burning trees, I suppose, that are floating through the air in real terms, then they hit the soil, then they're watered into the soil. Does that affect the pickup of moisture as well?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know, I should come work for you. I know, I just said that.
That's probably one area of research that we don't understand is exactly the mode of entry. So we think it's the aroma and flavour compounds that are actually present in the smoke that are being taken up by the grapes and the leaves, but it could be related to the particulate matter as well. So we don't know to what degree it's entry via the soil and the root system versus whether it's being taken up by leaves and the fruit directly.
In the photosynthesis. So I guess that's relevant. I know this isn't what we're talking about, but that'd be relevant for all fruit and vegetables as well.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's some of the research we're looking at now, is to try to understand whether this is a problem for other crops as well. So part of the complication is that these compounds that are in the smoke get taken up by the grapevine, and the grapevine tries to deal with these compounds, and it does that by sticking sugar molecules on. And so when fermentation takes place, the yeast that conducts fermentation actually breaks down these compounds, uses the sugar for fermentation, and then the smoky characters get released back into the wine. So it may well be that this process affects other crops, but because they're present with these sugar molecules on, maybe we can't actually taste them in other crops. So we're starting to investigate that as well.
So what got you into this research?
Well, this sort of research started off in Western Australia about 10 years ago, and I was involved in a project over there. So there were some wine regions over there that were being affected by it.
Margaret River?
Not so much Margaret River, but further inland in the Pemberton region back then.
Wow. I only mentioned that because I've been to Margaret River.
Oh, okay. Show off.
But it's affected wine regions throughout Australia, and in fact, just the vintage just gone in the US and in California and Canada has been affected by bushfires bushfires burning on the North American west coast
Is
as
this
well.
photograph from here in Australia or there?
Yeah, this is from an Adelaide Hills vineyard. So this was a vineyard that was affected not so much by smoke, but you can see the fires actually burnt all the way through the vineyard.
yeah.
So we conducted a study looking at how those vines that have been scorched by the fire, do they recover in the season? So in the one season, the first season after the fire occurred, you know, those vines didn't have much fruit on them, but a year or two
Eventually,
or three,
they come
they've picked
back.
up and they've recovered in that instance, yeah.
Well, I'm an Adelaide Hills boy. That's where I grew up. So bushfires were a norm for us.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I remember going through 4 while my family was there. And yes, I can see the regeneration there in the gum trees. That's the first thing you see.
That's right.
These little green shoots. But it takes gum trees who need the fire really to reproduce. It takes them quite some years to get back to some sort of normality as a tree. And they're hardened for those conditions, aren't they?
Well, see, smoke's really interesting because smoke actually promotes seed germination. So you have a bushfire goes through and it plays that generative role. So it actually triggers, you know, many of the seeds to begin the germination process. So it's quite, you know, quite a restorative process. But obviously
For
has an
new
impact.
growth, but for old
Yeah.
growth, the charring of the bark, if you like, of the tree.
Yeah, so that heat can radiate into the plant and can actually cause cellular damage, which impacts the plant's ability
Well,
to,
if it,
to
you know,
survive.
if we would burn in it too if we were there. And what
That's true,
damage
we
would it do to our skin? So, you know, the consideration that a tree can put up with all of that, or a vine can even survive after
It's
it.
quite remarkable,
It
isn't
is.
it?
It's extraordinary,
Absolutely.
really.
Yeah,
Because it's
absolutely.
not about new growth that we're talking. This is about old growth.
That's right. That's right.
Kerry, with the investigation that you're current, or the research you're currently working on, what other interesting things are you developing or being involved with?
So part of it's about understanding what the compounds are that are causing the taint, so, you know, some chemistry involved, but then also looking at what can we do to try to solve the problem. So we've done a number of trials in the vineyard looking at, you know, if we remove leaves before or after smoke exposure, does that help? Different techniques with winemaking. So we know that reducing the contact time of skins and the juice, that reduces the extraction of these smoke compounds. And then also looking at how can we treat the wine afterwards. So there are a number of additives that can be used post winemaking that can actually take out some of these compounds.
But clearly you don't want to be introducing more chemicals into...
Oh, so these are winemaking aids rather than
Okay.
chemicals, so they're already
Right.
used in the winemaking process, and they're permitted, you know, legal additives for winemaking. So they can be added in and can actually take out some of the constituents causing the smoke taint and improve the quality of the wine, so make it more palatable and reduce the intensity of these smoke characters in the wine.
Is this
So I guess
for
it's-
both white and red wines? Obviously, it's different
That's right.
grapes. It's not just one type of grape.
Yeah, we've been looking into whether certain varieties are more susceptible
Yeah.
as well. So it seems that red wines tend to have more taint because you generally ferment in contact with the skin, so you're extracting the coloured pigments.
Yeah.
But white wines tend to be lighter and have a, you know, that lighter style, and so a bit of smoke impact, you know, when there's been smoke exposure, can be a little bit easier to detect,
Yeah.
you know, with those lighter styles of aromas and flavours of white wines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I suppose the obvious question I must ask you is, so why is this research so important? I mean, things burn, they rejuvenate. Why is it so important to have this knowledge?
Well, it's a big impact for the wine industry. So it's a major challenge that they have to address. We don't know, you know, if and when bushfires are going to occur year in, year out, and we're trying to provide tools for the wine industry to combat it when it does occur.
Is it just the wine industry? Obviously, for wine it is, but we've talked to you about all sorts of things
That's right.
before. So is it across the board that this can affect? I mean, we were talking about edible insects at one point
That's
before.
right.
And clearly it would affect insects too that are out in the wild and all sorts of
will they
animals.
be ready roasted?
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Well, that's part of research to try and understand what other industries might be impacted. But you know, I think it was the 2007 Victorian bushfires were estimated to have cost the wine industry over $100 million in lost
That
fruit
was the
and
point I was
sales.
making.
Yeah. So it's a significant financial impact for industry and really affects
And
the
people's
long-term
livelihood.
sustainability. Yeah, the economic well-being and also the social well-being. So we're trying to use research to address, you know, what's a significant challenge as a result of climate change.
Is that more or less your university working for you? Is that...
It's an element of that, absolutely. So a lot of the work that we do is quite applied, and we do try to tackle, things that are problematic for industry. So particularly through our Australian Research Council funded training centre for innovative wine production, we've got a combination of projects that are looking at things that can help industry to solve particular problems, so understand flavour development, produce lower alcohol styles of wine, and also address the impact of bushfire smoke.
Really interesting. It's great that you're becoming a regular on the program to feed us more information about what's really happening in the world. That's what it is. Kerry, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Great to have you back, and we're going to be back very soon with Emma Knights and the band Come Together.
With some songs. How lovely.
You going to sing?
We like songs. Well, I might have to sing along.
Come together. Oh, no. It's California dreaming.
Yeah.
Do you want to? No, they'll do it better. Back in a minute. Welcome back to Our Time. Now, you might have a little girl in your family who tinkers on the piano, and you think, oh, that's really lovely for a little girl to do that. But I've got a little girl who grew up and tinkers on the piano professionally, and her name is Emma Knights. Hello, Emma.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you?
I just said that because a lot of grandparents who might be watching this program, or parents with young children might be watching, we'll introduce the other girls in a tick, and they don't realise how valuable learning to play an instrument can be.
That's very true, very true.
And you did, and you've turned into your profession, and it's been fantastic because you're one of the rising stars of musical directors here in this town. But let's introduce the other girls. So your sister is with us.
Yes.
And this is the lovely Jessica.
Yes.
And sitting right next to lovely Jessica is Melanie.
Hi.
And you're both singers.
Yes.
Did you sing around the house and drive everybody nuts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you, did she sing around? Because
Yeah.
she's considerably younger than you.
Yes, she is. And it was always, oh, can you go and play this? Can you come and play that? Yeah, okay.
Oh, did she do that?
Yep.
Yes.
Your personal musician accompanist.
Yeah.
Yes, all through high school.
How
Every
wonderful.
graduation.
Yeah.
Emma, but how did it start for you being because you're a keyboard player and you also play the
Guitar.
guitar.
Yeah,
But how did it start for you? Was it just because I'm always interested to know what motivates somebody to take something up like an instrument?
Well, our dad's actually a piano teacher, so it was a rule in the house that we had to do up to grade 5 before we were allowed to quit. But luckily I really enjoyed it, so I kept
But can you
going.
explain, what is it you enjoy? Is it the sound of the music? Is it the handing of the key? What is it? Is that an odd question to ask?
No, it's a good question. It's the feeling that you get when you're creating
The music?
Yeah.
Do you write as well?
I do a little bit of writing, yeah.
And arranging?
Yeah.
And so that means you've got to know all the other instruments and how they basically work, doesn't
Yep.
it? So where did all that come into your life?
I did my first theory exam when I was 8, where you have to start learning about ranges of instruments and all that kind of stuff, and you do it through uni and stuff as well.
So obviously you went to uni after getting to what grade in piano playing?
Grade 8, and then auditioned for Flinders Street School of Music back then, before it merged with the Con, and studied
It's the
there.
Conservatorium here in South Australia. Yep.
So I studied there, got my advanced diploma in music, in classical performance, and then went to WAAPA, the Western Australian Academy, and got my diploma in contemporary music because I wanted to be a rock god.
Did you?
Yeah, play my guitar.
Okay. But you don't have the big hair for that.
I don't have the big hair for
You
that.
need the big
no.
hair to be a rock goddess. Rock goddess. Going to WAAPA, for a lot of young performers, WAAPA in Perth seems to be the place to go from all around the country because Hugh Jackman went there.
Well,
just to drop a name.
right, yeah.
Was he there and asked you to be his
No.
personal musical director
No,
for the rest of your
unfortunately.
life? No,
No.
never mind.
Missed out.
Would you advise that's the career path that people should go through, the uni career path, if they have an interest?
Yeah, if they have an interest, definitely look into it. There's a lot of really good courses going around the country. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot here, which is a bit sad. Hopefully, one day my company can help fix that. But yeah, if you're interested, the more experience you can get, the more people that you know, and the more you can get out there. That's the biggest thing that I took out of uni, was the people that I met.
It's the associations you make with like-minded people who spur you to achieve even better things. So, girls, tell me about your singing. So, did you do anything wonderful like that as well, or did you just keep singing?
I just kept singing. I had to play the piano. I was lucky enough that I could stop doing that earlier though, and just annoy my sister by getting her to play and let me sing constantly at all my school graduations.
Melanie, was your life the same?
I didn't play piano, but I did learn dancing from the age of 3, so I've been a singer and dancer for a long time.
It's about being a performer, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a communicator. Whilst you make the music, somebody has to also communicate the other layers that go on top of the music.
That's right.
And you've come up with a show called...
Summer of Love.
Okay, what's it about?
It's all the songs from the summer of '67, the Monterey Festival, which was the prequel to Woodstock.
Okay.
So it was a lot of people got their first big performance at Monterey. So we're doing lots of stuff from Hendrix to Otis Redding, Mamas and Papas, because the festival was organised by them. Yeah, so...
And your association with that, you did a show, you musically directed a show here in Adelaide.
I did, yes.
Based on the story of the Mamas and Papas. It was a bit of a warts and all story, wasn't it?
It was a warts and all story. It was a very interesting history lesson.
So you haven't gone down the path of sex, drugs and rock and roll?
No, I'm a very tame musician. So the rock god and the guitar doesn't really fit.
It's the closest you go, okay. No, but the reality is, if you're a serious musician leading other musicians, as you have to be, you really have to have a good head on your shoulders.
You do, absolutely.
Would you, just talking about advice to people though, and for all of you, for parents and grandparents with children, what do you think is the best way to encourage them to develop perhaps a musical skill or a dance skill or singing skill if it's there?
I think from my side is get your technique down. It is important, but to also mix up, if you are doing exams or whatever, mix it up with stuff that you love to play. I think that's the big thing.
What about you girls?
I think it was great for me to be doing something as a kid at 3. Mum put me into dancing because I was a kid that needed to be doing something. So I think it's great if kids can be exposed to that. And theatre, the Theatre Bugs, which is around in Adelaide at the moment as well.
Well, there's a lot of schools. There's a school that I run too called the Mighty Good Talent School. There's Theatre Bugs, there's Actors Inc and Essential Talent. They're the main sort of 3, I think, that really train people to go further than just to be a dancer, a singer or an actor. You're fantastic and so are you girls, and we're missing a boy.
We are missing a boy
because
tonight.
we're going to be back in a little while with a song with the band and you girls singing, and the song is?
California Dreamin'.
So speaking of dreaming, what do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't want to grow up.
You don't? I like that answer. What about you too?
I think just keep on with the singing and the dancing and performing.
It's a lovely thing about show business. You can keep doing all of those things forever. Okay, stay with us. We'll be back with the girls and the band, who are boys.
The band are boys, yes, they are.
Excepting you.
Yep.
With the song California Dreaming. We'll see you then.
Church. I passed along the way. Well, I got down on my knees and I pretend to pray. Well, the preacher likes to go. Knows I'm gonna stay. California dreaming on such a winter's day.
fantastic to hear that song again, but we should meet the band. Jessica, we know Emma, but who's this fella over here?
This is Reed. On
Reese?
guitar
Nice to meet you. On drums?
is Sam.
Sam, I don't know if we can see you, Sam. Tell us, Melanie, who's on this side?
Yes, Sean, over here on bass.
Yes.
And
And blowing nicely.
Dan on the flute.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
So the band is called Come Together
Yes.
for this particular show. Where's the show on? What's happening? Where is it?
It's around rural South Australia.
Suburban.
Suburban, sorry, yes.
In the suburban theatres in South Australia.
Yes.
Out part of the Oots circuit. We've had a lot of performers on the show who are doing shows here in South Australia, so it's a great way to find out what's on and where they're performing. So now, guys, where are you all from? Like, are you a group that's just sort of sprung up overnight, or?
Well, a few of us have played a few times together, but we're all from around different parts of Adelaide, really.
But did you all come from the con here, or where did that come from musically? Share your microphone with your sister.
Well, I went to the con. Reed studied at TAFE up at Salisbury.
Yep.
Sam, we've just met at Music Theatre.
Oh, he just hangs
He
out.
just hangs out with
playing
us.
drums, wherever.
That's right. Dan, I met through theatre as well. And Sean has only been in Adelaide for 3 months, so Australia for 3 months
Oh.
even. So
wow.
he's a newbie.
Where are you from?
Denver,
Give us your microphone. Where are you from?
I'm from Denver, Colorado.
And why did you come here?
I got married to an Australian.
Oh, well done.
Sometimes helps, doesn't it? Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll take the microphone back. And where are you from? Not you. We know you. Come over here with me. Come over here with me, Melanie. Where are you from?
Oh, me? Yeah, I'm an Adelaide boy. I studied at University of Adelaide. And I know all these guys through various rock gigs and theatre gigs and stuff.
Fantastic. See, that's what's interesting, that not everybody understands how all these people come together. And
So hence the name. It's
funny
it's
about
all
that.
my
isn't it?
friends coming
yeah,
together.
exactly. Funny about that. So we have to go now, unfortunately. We'd like to hear a bit more music, though. So, Janice?
Yes. Till next time on our time.
Keep yourself nice till then. Can we have an intro of another song, please, as we say goodbye, and we'll see you soon on our time.